With the advent of streaming networks, TV shows can now live past their air dates. However, some have more infamous standing due to how they end. I'm Kalsatsu, and I'll be counting down the top 10 TV shows with the endings that range from bizarre, shocking, to downright depressing. For this video, I'll be using a different voice just to see what it sounds like, so it's still me talking here. And also, some of the footage will look kind of blurry because getting the footage for a lot of this stuff was very difficult, so some of it may sound very fast and high-pitched. I do the best I can with these things. Also, to date, this will be the most difficult video I've ever worked on, so some feedback would be nice and appreciated. Thank you.
Great googly moogly! Houchie baba and woola booga! Daggy, we're over!
The episode that never aired. Angry Beavers. In April of 1997, the Angry Beavers debuted on Nickelodeon. While not as popular as other Nicktoons such as the Rugrats, Wild Thornberrys, and Rocket Power, the Angry Beavers still managed to have a fan following, and still have a cult following to this very day. For the finale, creator Mitch Shaher decided to do something different and shocking. The episode was to be called Bye Bye Beavers. In it, Norbert gets a letter from the studio telling them that the show has been cancelled. He then proceeds to totally destroy the fourth wall as he explains to Daggett that they're only cartoon characters and that their lifespan as cartoons are coming to an end.
We are a cartoon. We aren't real. We're animated characters in a cartoon. Starting to get the picture?
No.
We're pictures. We're not even three-dimensional.
Wowzers.
Hate to break it to you.
Hey!
You're actually not even one-dimensional.
All in all, it's pretty funny. However, Nickelodeon didn't find it funny at all and forbade the episode to air. The only thing that exists of the episode are a couple of drawings and the full audio track. For some strange reason, Nickelodeon at the time had a rule with their Nicktoons. There could be no definite conclusion or finale. Yet the creators of Angry Beavers denied this request. Was it all worth it? Who knows?
That was nuts!
Unlike you, I've never killed anybody. I believe that the people who hurt my family deserve to live in agony, not pay with their lives, but you. You are the one exception. For you, death is my only true revenge.
Emily Thorne is given Victoria Grayson's heart, revenge. Taking its cue from the Count of Monte Cristo, the show's heroine, Emily Thorne, set out to get revenge on those who had wrongly imprisoned her father.
Get a car! Hands up so I can see him!
The show was an overnight hit, even putting up good ratings numbers with Sunday Night Football. In the show's final episode, appropriately named Two Graves, Emily breaks out of prison to kill her final target, her father's lover, Victoria Grayson. Emily tracks Victoria down to a warehouse, ready to end it once and for all. However, it is her father who shoots Victoria, not wanting Emily to throw her life away. Unfortunately, Victoria's not completely dead yet. With her last ounce of life, Victoria shoots Emily in the heart.
Which is why...
Now, there was talk among the writers about having both Victoria and Emily both die, fulfilling the title of the episode, Those Who Seek Revenge Must Dig Two Graves. But show creator Mike Kelly put his foot down and said that Emily deserved a happy, peaceful ending. So we see her marrying her childhood sweetheart Jack, and they sail off together. However, before the episode ends, we get a flashback of Emily in the hospital being watched by her half-sister Charlotte, Victoria's daughter. It turns out that Emily's heart was damaged beyond repair, but Charlotte gave the doctors permission to perform a special heart transplant. Whose heart? Victoria's heart.
But she can never know how. Or rather, who. That's what Mother would have wanted.
We then cut to Emily waking up on Jack's boat, giving viewers the option to determine whether it was a dream or not. Now, the writers actually wanted to leave that part ambiguous, however, many assume that Victoria's heart now resides in Emily Thorne, meaning that even though her mission is over, Victoria Grayson will always be a part of Emily Thorne. Sheesh, that's deep.
I'll never be able to put her behind me, will I?
I could do so much more! So much more! But this is what I get. My reward. But it's not fair!
The 10th Doctor regenerates. Doctor Who, The End of Time. Now technically I'm cheating on this one, since The End of Time is not really an episode, nor is the last episode of Doctor Who, since the series is still going on. But it is the last regular appearance of David Tennant as the Doctor, so I'm going to count it for this countdown. Despite the progressive mass hysteria over Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor, David Tennant still is one of the most popular Doctors in the entire franchise. In the movie The End of Time, the Doctor is in fear of hearing 4 knocks, because when he hears 4 knocks, that will mean his impending death. But he doesn't have time to worry about that, for his nemesis the Master has returned, and has turned everyone on Earth, except for Donna Noble and her grandfather Wilf, into a splitting image of himself. And on top of that, the Time Lords are looking to re-emerge from the time lock. Teaming up with Wilf, the Doctor is able to thwart the Master and send the Time Lords back into the time lock. However, Wilf is trapped in a chamber that is about to be flooded with radiation. The Doctor sacrifices himself, knowing that this will cause him to regenerate and change personalities. In one of the best montages ever seen, the Doctor goes throughout time visiting each of his companions and friends.
What year is this?
Blimey, how much have you had? 2005, January the 1st.
2005. Tell you what, I bet you're gonna have a really great year.
Yeah? See ya.
The Doctor returns to the TARDIS and then delivers his most classic line.
I don't want to go.
The End of Time was the last time that Doctor Who would be executive produced by Russell T Davies. After that, Stephen Moffat would take over, in which, my opinion, the series started getting complicated and weird.
Daryl, wait up!
He's got the wrong girl.
Tara is revived but loses her memories. Teen Titans. With the ending of their Cartoons block in the early 2000s, Cartoon Network's airwaves needed a revitalization, and Teen Titans gave it just that, being named one of the greatest superhero cartoons next to Batman the Animated Series and X-Men the Animated Series. Running for 5 seasons, Teen Titans showed that, unlike Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network was able to keep up with their vastly maturing audience. One of the show's major arcs in the second seasons revolves around a girl named Tara, a girl who can create earthquakes and mudslides. She's corrupted by the Titans' arch-nemesis Slade and is turned against her friends. Now before all that, she had been shown as a love interest of Beast Boy, and it's this love that convinces her to turn against Slade and spoil his plans. But she has to use the maximum of her powers, which turns her into a statue. This arc is wrapped up in the show's final episode, Things Change, and man is it emotionally a downer. Beast Boy sees a girl who looks exactly like Tara, but she has no memory of him or has any recollection of any of the past events. The other Titans think Beast Boy is imagining things, but they go to where her statue was and find it empty. This convinces Beast Boy that Tara has come back. Beast Boy tries really hard to get Tara to remember everything, but it's fruitless. Nothing works. Beast Boy vocalizes his frustration by asking a question that is asked by many of us in real life.
Why can't things just go back to the way they were? You were so happy then. Things changed, Beast Boy. The girl you want me to be is just a memory.
The episode ends with Tara fading into the crowd and out of sight. If you think about it deeply, a lot of the context in this episode makes us think of how we think about our personal lives. Things do change. Friends grow apart. It's just the way life works sometimes.
I made that for you. Remember, Tara? It's cute. Listen, I've really gotta go.
Hello, Magnus. Surely you have more pressing business to attend to than nursing an old friend.
Professor Xavier leaves planet Earth. X-Men the Animated Series. In the early 1990s, the Fox network had a lot of cartoon hits on their Saturday morning Fox Kids block, including X-Men the Animated Series. The show originally ran for 4 seasons, but Fox renewed it for a 5th. In the final episode, titled Graduation Day, Henry Peter Gyrich attacks Professor X with a disruptor, leaving him mentally crippled. No human scientific method can save the professor, but it's possible that the Shi'ar Empire and Lalandra can. Unfortunately, Jean Grey's psychic abilities cannot reach that far into the Shi'ar Empire. She needs help magnifying the signal, and there's only one mutant who can help her, Magneto. However, Magneto uses the attack on Professor X to prepare his mutant army for the invasion of Earth. Cyclops, Jean, and Wolverine sneak into Genosha and convince Magneto to help their ailing friend. With the conquest of Earth right at his fingertips, Magneto knows that Charles Xavier is his only friend and equal, so he abandons his cause to visit his dying friend one last time.
You lie to torture me. My legions await my command, pledging body and soul to me. With a single word, I can remake the world. I cannot leave. Why now, my greatest enemy, and perhaps my only friend? But I have waited all my life for this moment!
The combination of Jean's powers and Magneto's connection to the electromagnetic field are enough to contract Lalandra. Unfortunately, in order to cure him, Professor X must leave planet Earth and go to the Shi'ar Empire with her. The final scene of the series shows the X-Men and Magneto watching Professor X depart planet Earth. Due to the final season being purchased by Fox at the last minute, a lot of the last season's episodes feel rushed, with the remaining 6 episodes using different animation styles. mainly because a different studio was originally going to be used to produce the episode, but Saban Entertainment decided to do it himself, all to save money. Graduation Day itself is extremely rushed, with the conflict being resolved way too quickly. It would have been better and more fitting if this episode had been a two-parter instead of a single entry.
Can he ever come back?
Perhaps not in body, my children, but my spirit shall remain among you, where it was always meant to be.
If I have one regret, it's that I couldn't walk among humans unafraid. Walk up to some Joe citizen and say, "Hey Joe, wanna grab a brewski and talk about the Lakers?" But I could do that where I'm going.
Alf is captured by the alien task force. Alf. If you had told someone in the late 80s that a puppet not created by Jim Henson would take the country by storm, no one would believe you. But that's what Alf did. Alf not only had his TV show, but also an animated series and a ton of merchandise. In the final episode entitled Consider Me Gone, Alf is contacted by his friends on Melmac, who have discovered a new planet and plan to set up a house there. They ask him to join, which he accepts. However, the conversation is intercepted by the alien task force. From the very first episode, the alien task force made it clear what they would do if they ever got their hands on the alien.
We'll see how it responds to intense heat, freezing cold, high voltage, toxic substances, pain, sleep deprivation, inoculation, that's needles, and of course, dissection.
Why don't you just pull its toenails out?
You didn't let me finish.
Damn. Just damn. I wish I could say Alf escapes this fate, but unfortunately no. The alien task force surrounds and captures Alf before he can make it home. Now, if you watched this on its original air date, you probably remember a graphic saying "to be continued" popping up. Well, that's because there was a 5th season planned. The writers decided to end the season on a cliffhanger in hopes to persuade NBC to renew the show for a 5th season. Unfortunately, it didn't work. There was a lot of tension on the set of the show, and many believe that they could not deal with a filming of a 5th season. Now, Alf's story doesn't end there. In 1996, a TV movie called Project Alf would air to give closure to those fans who were upset at the end of the show. Unfortunately, the movie bombed, mostly due to the absence of the Tanner family. While Alf does survive, he never sees his human friends again, and he doesn't even return to Melmac. Many fans despise this movie, some saying that they don't even recognize it. NBC Network executive Brandon Tartikoff would later tell the Alf creator and puppeteer Paul Fusco that canceling the show prematurely was a big mistake. When your TV movie is so bad that it's considered non-canon by fans, you know you seriously f***ed up.
Hey guys, you wanna grab a brewski? What about those Lakers, huh? Just my luck. Not a sports fan among you.
This town has been our friend. It's made us a family. It's kept us together. Wherever we go in this world, we will always remember Walnut Grove. It will always be home to us.
The citizens of Walnut Grove blow up their town, Little House on the Prairie. Based on Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House on the Prairie books, the TV show of the same name was a hit in the 70s. Produced by Michael Landon, the show grounded itself in Christian overtones and family values. The show also launched the acting careers of NFL Hall of Famer Merlin Olsen, Fox News' Missy Francis, Shannon Doherty, and Malcolm in the Middle creator Linwood Boomer. Also, an extra interesting fact, Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura Ingalls, would go on to voice Batgirl in Batman the Animated Series. The 9th and final season of the show was renamed Little House on the Prairie: New Beginnings, in which the show would then feature more of Laura and her husband Almanzo, as her family had moved away, giving Michael Landon more of a behind-the-scenes role. In the Ingalls place, a family called the Carters would move into their house. Fans were not very fond of the Carter family. Fans were also not fond of the new format of the show, and the show would lose viewers, leading to its cancellation. Despite being canceled, the show was still popular enough to survive the next year and a half in the format of television movies. While not being the last one to air, the film The Last Farewell is considered by fans to be the show's finale. In the movie, Charles and Caroline Ingalls decide to visit Walnut Grove. Unfortunately, their timing is bad, for a ruthless railroad tycoon has bought the property of Walnut Grove and is planning to force its inhabitants out. The citizens of Walnut Grove fight back, but their resistance is futile. The town decides the tycoon can have the land, but not their town and property.
I let him! There's something we can do. I got mad today. Really mad. And you know what I did? I busted some windows. Yeah, it may sound silly. Well, maybe it is. But they were our windows, and he's not gonna get them. He owns the land. We'll let him have it. But he's gonna have an awful lot of fixing up to do before he starts running our boarding house.
So each citizen takes it upon themselves to blow up their residence and business. The only buildings that remain standing are the church and the Ingalls house. The citizens of Walnut Grove then leave the town singing the song Onward Christian Soldiers, ending the show. Now, there was a reason for the town being blown up. Michael Landon came up with the idea. This was because there was a contractual clause that at the show's end, the outdoor set had to be returned to its natural state. So rather than using costly efforts to deconstruct the site, they decided to blow it up instead. While this was very clever, seeing Walnut Grove destroyed is one of the most tear-jerking and saddest moments in classic television history.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go.
Well, Swift, old friend, I'm afraid the time has come for us to part. We've been through so much together, you and I, good times and bad. And you were always there to carry me out of danger. I love you very much, Swift.
David and Lisa pass away naturally. David the Gnome. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you don't even remember this show, so here's a reminder. Maybe this will help. The cartoon was originally from Spain, but was dubbed into English by Cookie Jar Entertainment and aired on Nickelodeon's Nick Jr. block programming. The plot of the show was David and his wife Lisa helping sick woodhick and or injured woodland creatures with their friend Swift the Fox, also combating trolls along the way. Running for 2 seasons, it's stated in the first season that both David and Lisa are 399 years old. At the end of the second season and the very last episode, Beyond the Mountains, it is announced that Lisa and David are approaching their 400th birthday. The very last year a gnome can live on Earth. The episode ends with David and Lisa atop the mountain, expressing their love for each other one last time as they wait for the end to come. They then proceed to turn into apple trees, ending their lives. Man, this was kinda heavy for a preschool block show. To my knowledge, Nickelodeon only aired this episode 1 time before recircling for reruns. While it is important that children learn that all living things have to die over time, this show probably was not the best way to do it.
Ever since you found out who I am, I've screwed up your life, Deb.
It's not yours to screw, Dex. I'm responsible for my life, do you hear me? I don't want you to feel guilty about this. I don't want you to feel guilty about anything, you hear me?
Dexter buries Deborah at sea. Dexter. Based on the series of books written by Jeff Lindsay, Dexter was Showtime's most popular, albeit yet controversial, show. The subject of a serial killer with a conscience raised questions with critics, moralists, and society alike. For 7 seasons, Dexter killed and never got caught, although he had several close encounters. The closest was in the finale of the 7th season by his boss, LaGuerta. Deborah kills LaGuerta to save Dexter, but her decision will haunt her for the rest of the series. The 8th and final season puts a major strain on Deborah's psyche, also questioning whether she loves Dexter as a brother, or if she loved him intimately. In the show's final episode, Remember the Monsters, Deborah is taken to the hospital after she is shot by one of Dexter's would-be victims. All seems well at first, however, due to surgery complications, Deborah is rendered into a vegetative state. Wrecked with sadness and guilt, Dexter humanely pulls the plug on Deborah. He then proceeds to wheel her out of the hospital to his boat, ride out to sea, and give her an out-to-sea burial. He then drives off into an oncoming hurricane. The rest of his co-workers presume him dead. We then learn that Dexter is spending the rest of his life in Oregon as a lumberjack. The last shot of the show shows Dexter sitting all alone. Many fans were unhappy with the ending of the show. Deborah was a popular character, and her being buried at sea like one of Dexter's victims seemed like a very unfitting burial for such a popular character. Executive producer Scott Buck stated that it would be impossible to give the serial killer a very happy ending. And thinking about it, he's actually right. Dexter stated that he destroys everyone around him. The finale of season 4 showed the murder of his wife Rita. However, Dexter did not heed this warning and continued his activities. And as a consequence, he loses his sister. And Dexter has to reap these consequences as he stares into the camera in the show's final shot.
And taking a look at the long-range forecast, continued snow, darkness, and extreme cold. This is Howard Handupby. Good night.
the entire cast dies. Dinosaurs. The show Dinosaurs was one of the last projects greenlit by Jim Henson before his death. Using live-action animatronic puppets, Dinosaurs was a parody of family life in the suburbs. While a lot of the show's plots was aimed at adult subject matter, Dinosaurs was also very popular with children spending in a whole horde of toys and merchandise, mostly thanks to the popular character Baby Sinclair.
I'm the baby, gotta love me. Big purple eyes, I'm very cuddly.
Due to this fact, ABC was very reluctant to pull the trigger on an episode that hinted at the extinction and death of the dinosaurs, but Brian Henson said it had to be done. In the show's final episode, Changing Nature, the Sinclair family are having a picnic awaiting the return of the bunch beetles.
Bunch beetles eat those pesky cider poppies that grow so abundantly this time of year.
However, the bunch beetles don't return. As Earl Sinclair's employers, the We Say So Corporation, has built a wax fruit factory on their mating grounds, in the process has killed all the bunch beetles save one named Stan.
You killed them all? Well, I had to. This day just keeps getting worse.
Without the bunch beetles to serve in the ecosystem, the cider poppies began to grow out of control. In order to get rid of the poppies, the dinosaurs spray the entire planet with poison. While it gets rid of the poppies, it backfires and kills all plant life on Earth. Not learning from their mistake, the dinosaurs then proceed to drop bombs in volcanoes in hope to form rain clouds. But this has terrible consequences.
Thick black clouds of sulfurous gas and soot now shroud the entire planet, blotting the sun from the sky and causing global temperatures to drop precipitously. Considering the thickness of the cloud cover, scientists predict it may be tens of thousands of years before the sun shines over Pangea again.
The final scene of the series shows the Sinclair family in their home, all bundled up trying to keep warm. Earl apologizes to his family for bringing on the end of the world. Earl's final line in the show speaks volumes.
Dinosaurs have been on this earth for 150 million years. And it's not like we're going to just disappear.
The camera then zooms out as the snow continues to fall, as the Sinclair family sit and await their fate. Even 2 decades later, this episode still ranks as one of the saddest of all times, especially for a television finale. While the message of protecting the environment is very clear in this episode, many parents were very upset at this episode, seeing all the characters die. But the episode had a message, and the message is very clear. Let nature do their work and don't rock the boat.